Hi, this is Sandra. In this video, I want to show you how to close the database connection, and I'm going to do that as the form is closing. And while we're there, I'm going to prompt the user to ask them, are you sure you want to close the application? And then they have a chance to say yes or no. Now, so firstly, I'm going to click on the frame itself and just check in the properties window that I'm on the J frame. If you notice there, the first property there is the default close operation for when the user presses the X button, and that is that it will exit. I'm going to change that to do nothing, and then I'm going to ask the user if they want to exit. If they say yes, I'm going to do a system.exit, and if they say no, it will return to the form. Okay, so do nothing, make sure that that is changed. Now I'm going to click on the events and scroll down. There are two events here which I want to explain: window closed and window closing. So the window close, that's the very last event where you can write code for something to happen when the form has definitely closed. But I'm going one before that, and the window closing happens as the form is closing and you have a chance to stop it from closing, which is what I'm going to do. Now, so I'm going to double click or click beside that and choose a form window closing event. That's a name that it suggests for that event, and that one's fine. So in here, I'm going to write an if statement to ask the user if they want to close. Sorry, I'm going to display a J option pane. Making a bit of a mess here. J option pane dot show confirm dialog. Okay, I'm going to use the third one here, so it's overloaded. There are 4 of them. The parent component, the message, the title on the top. The option type there is the buttons that I want to display in the dialog. So I'm going to have a yes and a no button, and the message type is the icon, so I'm going to have a question mark. You can see here at the end that this method returns an int. If I scroll down in here, an integer indicating the option selected by a user. So it indicates the option being, did they press the yes button or the no button. So I need to surround this call to show confirm dialog in an if statement. But I'll type this up first and then you'll see that. The parent component is this frame, so the dialog appears in the middle. The message is a string. Are you sure you want to exit? The title on the top is also a string. I'm going to put exit. Well, it's string. Sorry. The option type. So this is a constant for the buttons there. So J option pane dot which buttons do I want, and I'm going to put in there yes and no. Yes, no option. Select that, and finally the message type. That's the icon. So again, J option pane dot question message. Now let's spread this around down a little bit, spread it down, move down, make it look a little bit better. I'm going to put an if statement around this because it returns an int for the button that the user pressed. So wrap it in an if statement. If equals. So if the user pressed the option pane dot yes, if they chose the yes option, then I'm going to exit, and if not, I'm actually not going to do anything. It'll keep the frame open. Okay, there's another thing I want to do in here. We'll just do the system.exit first. So system.exit. Okay, system.exit takes an int status. 0 means everything closed properly, and if you put any other number in there, it'll throw an exception to show that the application didn't close properly, but we're not using that. What I also want to do in here is I want to close the database connection. So okay, just tidying that up as I'm going along. Now, in the LearnerDAO class, I have a method in there to close the connection. It uses the connection object there that's global, and it closes the connection. You must have a try catch around it. Back behind my frame, I have a global variable. Close that generator code down. I have a global variable there for LearnerDAO, and that is my link to the DAO class. It's my reference to the DAO class. So I only have one of them. So in here, I'm going to use that back in my if statement, LearnerDAO.close connection. So if I do these the other way around, if I exit the application, it'll go out and leave, and it won't execute any code after that. So make sure I close the connection first and exit second. Now, I was going to leave and not test this out. So just to run the application, try out that code that I've written. So if the user selects the yes button, now, so firstly, when the user clicks X, that form closing, window closing event will happen, that code will execute. So click X, are you sure you want to exit? I've no code in there for no, so when I hit no, the dialog closes, nothing happens, but the frame stays there, so that's essentially nothing has happened, it hasn't exited. And if I click that X button and choose yes, it'll close the database connection and it will do system.exit to close the application as well. And I put a print out there in the database, the closing method over in the DAO, just to see that it did actually close the connection. I'll just show you that there before I go. So the connection, down close connection, connection.close, and there's my printout closing the database connection, just to show that that happened there as well. So that is how to, or probably a good place to close the connection for your database. And also you can prompt the user to see if they do or don't want to close the frame. Just make sure for that to work as well. Back in the properties of the frame, the default close operation is on do nothing, and then you're writing code to control whether it closes or not. Okay, thank you.